This video is a doozy. So if at any point in time you're enjoying this video and you're going ba-da-ba-ba-ba, then hit your boy with that thumbs up. Much appreciated for damn sure. Fujitora. Consider this fact for a second. He with his powers can send these rings into the skies and he yoinks meteors for attacks, even when he's very comfortable, like for example eating soba in chapter 724. But where are these meteors coming from? Normally meteors are from meteoroids that coast through space, and considering the flames on the meteors that he brings in, these meteors are probably burning up when they enter the Earth's atmosphere. However, that's just what normally happens, right? To say it's Earth, it's not really Earth, it's One Piece. It's the world of One Piece. And Oda does whatever he wants to do in this world. So it is possible, for example, where these meteors are just, let's say, large rocks that normally float in the upper parts of the sky, and we don't see these large rocks. And Fujitora is pulling them down. The reason why they're covered in fire normally is because that's what Oda just wants to do, and it does not involve the planet's atmosphere. Now, you may say, okay, hold on, time out. Rocks just floating in the sky? Hella random, dumb AF. However, I don't think Capone and his crew would agree with you, because in chapter 594, when they first entered the new world, they got whisked away by a floating rock, island, object, landmass of some kind. It likely had its own gravitational pull, and that gravity or lack thereof is probably keeping that rock or that landmass floating in the skies in that area. So there could be similar aloof rocks in the skies, and Fujitora could be pulling these down, and that explains why he can pull these meteors down so quickly and does it all the damn time. However, considering the consistency, the speed, and the atmospheric entry effects of the meteors, the best option would be to have meteoroids that orbit the planet from at least the outer atmosphere layers, like the thermosphere and beyond. Now, why is Fujitora and his meteor attacks, why are these things important? Because right now we are on Egghead Island, the tech juggernaut island of the series, at least so far. And the tech themes and revelations and theories we have seen have been very important, I argue, beyond the epic over-the-top fights like Luffy and Lucci as of late, particularly in the anime, where it's been absolutely incredible. It's very likely that many of these concepts are the foundations of events, location, mysteries that we have seen in the series before and probably in the future to come. For example, we talked about chapter 594, where Capone's ship once again got tractor beamed up by a large floating landmass. What we found in this arc, chapter 1064, the revelation of anti-gravity technology. The Vega 401, that robot is modeled after an ancient robot, and this robot, using jet boosters plus anti-gravity tech, can fly around. So the floating landmass above Capone's ship might have been the result of anti-gravity tech from a bygone era, and the effects are still lingering on this landmass even to this day. So you can see how some of the unusual things about the world of One Piece aren't necessarily natural phenomenon, but they are man-made phenomena. And now let's go a step further. If the landmass that took in Capone's ship is the way it is because of anti-gravity tech, then this scale is even larger, I would say for sure, than the Egghead Island scope, particularly since it's been up there floating for God knows how long. And if it has been up there since the bygone age, this could easily be explained through the revelation of the ancient power source, revealed in chapter 1067. The power source that blows away what the Vegapunks and SSG have at this point in time. And this likely relates to the undying flame, the eternal flame that Lilith talks about in chapter 1065. And you can argue in some way that's tied to Luffy, because Luffy's funky heartbeat got the Iron Giant active again, even though before it was speculated that it ran out of juice when it entered the Holy Land. So did Luffy's funky heartbeat contain the power, the quote-unquote power, the robot needed to move again? It is possible, but I digress, because the key thing here is that it is a massive deal for the story of One Piece with the revelation of this ancient power source. And this ancient power source seems to be close to, if not actually, unlimited. Lilith herself says that she could even make her own star, which is vital for the final step of this video. But let's go just one more step further. Vegapunk created something called the Island AC technology. We know the island used to be a winter island, a pretty extreme one, but with the island AC, they could alter the climate completely, and now it has the climate of more of a tropical area. En route to the island, we see blizzards and glaciers and sea kings dying of frost and so on and so forth. And it was confirmed in the Kuma flashback that it was in fact a winter island. But when they see the warm eddy in chapter 1060, Nami comments that there must be a huge temperature differential somewhere in the bodies of water to create a warm eddy of that scale. So even though it's not purposeful, the SSG and Vegapunk, they are manipulating the ocean currents in very wonky ways with this island AC control system. And it shows you just how impressive the potency of the quote-unquote fire that is used to power the island itself. The island's power source was mentioned by Lilith in chapter 1064. And very likely, the same power source that powers the object that was floating above the theoretical Lulusia Kingdom, aka the Mother Flame. In the latest chapter of One Piece, 1112, we find out that the power plant is in the bottom of the B tower located in the main lab. And according to the scanned translations of chapter 1089, the kanji for this power station can be read as a fusion reactor. Not nuclear fission, nuclear fusion, which is a very big deal, because fission is what powers atomic weapons, but fusion is even better than fission. So unless Imu has like the family atomics hidden somewhere in the red line, this is without a damn doubt the best power source the world government has at their disposal, by far and away at this point in time. And it is still inferior to the ancient power source. So if we, let's say for example, took a lot of the new tech that we're seeing so far and we souped it up with the ancient power source, the Undying Flame, how would things turn out? So the AC tech for the entire island, if it was powered by the ancient power source instead of the current fire, what would that look like? Better weather control, a larger area of effect for controlling the weather, all likely true, of course, but also most likely larger, much larger warm eddies. Insane ocean current phenomenon that just make utterly no sense. There are a scant few water currents we've seen in the world of One Piece that are crazier than the warm eddy that Zoro cut at the beginning of this arc. And one of those ocean currents can even lift entire islands. Knock up streams, ladies and gentlemen. I love that phrase. Knock up streams. Did you pray today? Listen, the main theory that Mont Blanc cricket postures in chapter 229 is an enormous cavity underneath the sea floor that gets filled with water but heated by geothermal activity underneath it, which creates up all the steam, and then the knock-up stream is a result of that pressure releasing. Now, it is possible that this cavity is a natural phenomena, but it's far from a guarantee, particularly when that's just a common theory. No one has actually gone down there and checked themselves because they don't want to die. So this theory could be completely and utterly wrong. So it could be something else entirely different that is causing the knock-up streams routinely to activate once every 5 or so months. And these knock-up streams tend to line up quite nicely with the drifting cycles of the Emperor Cloud. The Emperor Cloud, or the Emporio Cumulus, is the foundation of the Skypiea arc, where both the white and the white seas are atop and within the Emperor Cloud. And according to Mont Blanc cricket, and again, 229, the theories speculate that this cloud has remained unchanged, petrified for thousands of years. We already see how the SSG on Agate Island can recreate Sky Island sort of clouds, which is what they use to separate their main labs. So tweaking and adjusting that to make really dense clouds that could potentially form the Emperor Cloud, that should be possible, given that you have the right power source. A little more gas in the tank, some undying, eternal flame gas, because the nuclear fusion / Mother Flame isn't as good, nowhere near as good as Eternal Flame. Speaking of which, we saw the damage the Mother Flame could produce via the object above Lulusia, creating global pandemonium and that massive hole that goes God knows how far down. But what would an Eternal Flame version look like if the eternal flame, the undying flame, was powering the object above Lulusia Kingdom. Well, a lot of people have noticed these similarities between the Lulusia hole and the Enies Lobby hole. And the key difference here between the two islands, outside of the odd structure of Enies Lobby, is the fact that one of the monikers is the Nightless Island. And there's a great shot of it in chapter 374, a great shot of it. The island never gets nighttime. How does that work when the planet should be spinning and there should be normal day and night cycles? No.
All of this just works.
Some folks theorize that it was, let's say, an ability of the previous glint fruit user, the one that Kizaru has now, where someone did a solar flare and it stayed up there, and that's how it is the Nightless Island. However, will that still apply even after the user's death? Let's say Enies Lobby has been that way for hundreds, thousands of years. Would the solar flare still be up there? Maybe, possible. But another possibility could be, hey, this is technology, ancient technology, undying flame, eternal flame shenanigans. And it could, let's say, be a feature of the object that destroyed the entire Lulusia Kingdom, but only if it has more power, if it has the right power source, not mother flame, eternal flame power source. So you're seeing hopefully how a lot of these strange phenomena and mysteries of the world now could have genuine technological, scientific explanations with the right amount of power. There are plenty of potential examples, like the Florian triangle figures hidden in the mist, or the formation of the walls around Wano country, a very large area that is being walled off entirely. There are plenty of cases where technology and science are the root source. And the biggest one is something many fans are confident to this day is man-made. Let's go another step further. The red line is, without a doubt, one of the weirdest elements of the world of One Piece, and it's also the largest. It just doesn't make any sense at all. How do you have Wall Rose on roids and it wraps around the whole planet like it's an earthbender version of Jormungandr? How is that possible? And as a result of this madness, it divides the world into two major halves, and also likely the reason why the calm belts exist, complete dead zones where there's no wind blowing at all. And because of the calm belts, it further divides the world into more quadrants: north, south, east, and west oceans. Then you have the Grand Line, Paradise, and you have the crazier, much crazier New World. But as of late, there's even something weirder about the red line that I'm not too sure many cats caught onto, and it involves the Lunarians. In chapter 1022 and 1023, it is revealed to us, the readers, that the Lunarians, at some point in time in the past, used to live on top of the red line, long ago, long before the Holy Land's creation, likely. A land of gods was up there. But something is also in of itself strange to reveal, because the Lunarian physique is like off the charts. These guys somehow have a degree of invulnerability. And in chapter 1033, Queen says that they can adapt to damn near any environment the world can dish out at them, which insinuates that this race of people, in order to adapt what they have, must have lived in very, very harsh environments to be the way they are. But hold on. But what is harsh about the red line? The celestial dragons live up there comfortably, very comfortably. In fact, too comfortably. Sloth and greed are sins for a reason, and the Ten Rubido absolutely embody damn near every 7 deadly sin. It's disgusting. But royals and nobles from other nations can visit the Red Line and go to the Holy Land for Comic-Con style events, like the Reverie, or I guess Leveille now, whatever you want to call it. And these people—
What do you mean, you people?
Humans that are normal are fine. So why are the Lunarians built the way they are? It's kind of strange. And this was a struggle for me, because there were options as to why they were the way they were. They, let's say, for example, could have moved to the Red Line from another location in the past that was very inhospitable, and then from that point in the past, again, they moved to the Red Line before dying out. And that's why the bodies are so tough and durable. Or they live somewhere else on the Red Line that is a very hazardous place. We only get to see like one section of the Red Line for the most part, but it goes across the entire planet. So maybe one part of the Red Line is pretty inhospitable, and they come from there. Or maybe even in the distant past, they were the race that made the Red Line. And in the process of making the Red Line, their race's body started to adapt because that was a very harsh and intense process that lasted for centuries. Or even, let's say, they were created by another race of people, and then these people made the Lunarians to live as gods on top of the Red Line. So, man, there are options for sure. A lot of damn options. Except one of them, woohoo! One of them was just too damn good. Like eating buttered chicken after a fast.
Delicious.
Delicious, my boys and girls. Delicious. This option checked so many of the boxes that I had, and it's the one I'm rolling with because it's just too damn epic and right up my alley. And the inspiration once again tied back to Egghead Island with something that has not been addressed yet, even though it's in plain sight. What the hell are the floating blocks around the egg? Now, listen, I know, random, true, but I was fixated on this for a moment, for actually a good minute, because vids like these do take a long time to write the script, the theory crafting, and so on and so forth. And I was fixated for a good minute on these goddamn blocks. Like, yo, what's going on here? How come this has not been addressed yet? And the best answer, I think, ultimately, is that it's the island AC that controls the temperature for the whole island and the surrounding waters nearby, as well as the main conduit for the anti-gravity tech, hence why they're floating around Punk Records. And once again, Lilith also mentions in 1064 that the anti-gravity tech is a part of the island AC. And then Epiphany hit me just like a ton of bricks. Because in this chapter, she also says, one day, the island AC will be possible anywhere.
Globally.
In the Viz translation, it's specifically all over the world. If you take Egghead Island as a sort of microcosm of the planet itself, the same way you could view, let's say, Skypiea and the series of One Piece as a whole, potentially, then things become very juicy. Because if you take the egg and then you close the gaps of the egg, you get a complete egg with a ring around it. A floating ring around it. Like a, what? Like a planet with rings, Saturn-style rings around it. And then, ladies and gentlemen, there was one idea that stood above the rest. Planetary AC. The Red Line, at this point in time, already affects the global climate in crazier, wonky, zany ways. If the Red Line wasn't supposed to be there, and instead was supposed to be floating around the planet in outer orbit, in the outer atmosphere, a man-made, species-made, God-made marvel that was created to try and control the climate all across the planet. The same way the Vegapunks and SSG control the climate of Egghead Island. Oh yeah, planetary AC to the maximum. And this checks off so many boxes, way more than you'd expect. Way more than you expect. And I love it. Box number one, why the Lunarians have their physique. They lived in space on top of the Red Line ring, the Red Line AC, the land of the gods, and they managed it. And we know from the NL cover story that the angel races used to live on the moon. So Lunarians, who are also a winged race, could likely be in a similar situation here where they can also live in space. Furthermore, if the Lunarians can travel back and forth between the planet and the red ring, not the halo one of death, but the Redline AC, then they would need those tough bodies to enter the planet's atmosphere on a regular basis. So the speed form is used to exit the planet, and then the sturdier flame on form is used to enter the planet through the planet's atmosphere. Oh, that is just delicious. But that's just point number one. Box number two. Why the celestial dragon attire is space themed, as if they were astronauts on the moon. Nothing about the red line now warrants that kind of design. Not a single thing. It makes no sense unless you relocate the entire red line itself to be an outer atmosphere orbit around the planet. You apply the logic of the planetary AC to the red line. Many folks already theorize that what Emu and the Elders use to destroy Lulusia Kingdom is some kind of UFO, some kind of ship. But a ship to do what? To travel to the land of the gods, which would explain why it was already in the world government's possession, because it was on the red line. And then when they took over the red line from the Lunarians centuries ago, they got the ship for a 2-for-1 special. That's why they have access to it already. A kind of ship that could travel between the land of the gods, the red line AC orbiting the planet, and the planet itself. Travel between there and back. That's why you would need the astronaut outfit. That makes a lot of damn sense. 3, since it's the red line AC, weather phenomenon and potentially geographical phenomenon that are quite strange could be the ancient people's ways of trying to get up to the floating red line, the land of the gods. So things like knock-up streams, right? Giant jack style beanstalks that just randomly shoot into the sky. Keep in mind, knock-up stream, half of Jaya went to the sky and landed on a huge beanstalk. Where does the beanstalk come from? That's not explained. That's kind of weird. And obviously my eyes are on Elbath, because obviously given the Jack and Beanstalk themes, 1, and 2, when we see Elbath during the Big Mom flashback, and recently with Shanks accompanying Kid, we do see these sort of thin shade out lines that just shoot up into the sky, straight up. So saying that these Beanstalk's origins stem from there, no pun intended, I don't think that's crazy. So Elbath I think is gonna be important here in the future, duh. But these are ultimately all just attempts, ways for folks in ancient times to try and get to the land of gods. 4, going back to the celestial dragons, when you have a ship of some kind that is ferrying people from, let's say, the land of the gods to the planet and back, you run the risk of infiltrators, of marauders, trying to steal and take the goods of these people, and potentially of the land of gods itself. Pirates. There are such a thing as space pirates. And I'll cover story. These races that are inexplainable so far in the story could be explained by living at some point in time in the past on a certain part of the red line, trying to infiltrate the land of the gods and the humans that tried to visit said land of gods for negotiations, for peace terms, whatever had to be done. And what we see in the NL cover story, these folks are the remnants of these people. Yes, the more boxes being checked. Not done yet. Here's number 5. The red line AC has anti-gravity features to it too, because Egghead Island is an island modeled after an ancient kingdom way back when that had very similar features and so on and so forth. Anti-gravity tech is possible, and with an undying flame, the scale could be unimaginable. Planetary and then some. So the landmass that was floating above Capone that sucked up his ship like a tractor beam in chapter 594 could be a remnant of those times, potentially a piece of the old red line that could have broken off and was still floating there in that area of the now new world. And then number 6, this is how we circle back all the way to Fujitora. When the Redline AC fell to the planet, similar to Capone's case here, but sort of in that outer atmosphere orbit, there were probably debris of the Redline AC that are still stuck there in this area. And that's how someone like Fujitora can pull down meteorites consistently, quickly, and with the atmospheric features. He's pulling down chunks of the Redline AC from a bygone era. And number 7, for an add-on that's probably pretty obvious, but I think very important nonetheless. When the Redline AC theoretically fell back down onto the planet, this caused huge water displacement, like putting a golf ball in a cup of water. It's going to raise the water level of the cup. Think of Lucia Kingdom being destroyed, and then 6 days later, it was revealed in chapter 1089 that the worldwide sea level rose by 1 meter. Think of that, but on a far more extreme degree when the Redline AC drops onto the planet. And we saw just how devastating 1 meter across the entire world was. And so because of the rise in water all across the planet, there's a very good chance that a lot of creatures and people were trying to adapt to the swell in sea level. So obviously what comes to mind is something like Zunisha, where Zunisha is absurdly long in its length, and these long legs could have been its own adaptation to survive in this crazy, changing, flooding world. Folks theorize that Nika in some way made Zunisha's legs pretty long. Well, it could be because of the absurd rise in sea level after the Redline AC fell onto the planet. Or let's say even things like Tequila Wolf, the stupidly long bridge in the East Blue. It's been around for like 700 years plus. And this bridge is shockingly massive, not just in length, but in height. It is far larger than a marine ship, so it's not getting the Baltimore treatment. Why? Why is it that big? Probably because they need to have something of that sort so they could transverse between islands or territories because the sea levels at that point in time were so damn high. And another key sign of this is probably the existence and the creation, the need of Noah. The arc that is clearly tied reference to Noah's Ark, where you have a global flood across the entire world in a similar way to, let's say, what Iceberg is trying to do in chapter 431, where he's trying to make the entire Water 7, the entire island, into a ship so it can float and survive the upcoming Aqua Lagunas. The same thing probably was going on, like Aqua Lagunas all across the planet. So people also helped construct the Noah's Ark so they could try and live through these Aqua Lagunas across the planet. Who made the ship, we still don't know, but it's gotta be extremely tough to be able to maintain its shape underneath 10,000 meters of water pressure, which is 33,000 feet of water pressure for centuries. Centuries! A ship like that is gonna be able to withstand Aqua Lagunas, without a doubt. Yeah, yes, we cooking right now, baby, we are. Because this does check off a lot of my boxes. And it is undeniably epic as hell. Once again, you might say to yourself, it's impossible. There's just no way. No. Get that Star Wolf activity out of here, bro. No. Because you're underestimating. You're underestimating the Undying Flame, the Eternal Flame, the power source that could allow you to make your own star power. The freely abundant energy that Vegapunk talks about, that is everywhere. But folks that can't tap into it today, maybe in the past they could, where it could be as simple as solar, wind, hydro, maybe let's say even ties into energy that was produced by the Redline AC, the planetary AC across the entire planet. And this could be this sort of travel between the floating Redline AC around the planet by people, attempts in various ways in other countries, knock up streams, crazy giant jack beanstalks, and so on and so forth. This could all tie in to the Age of Heaven. The Age of Heaven that Robin talks about in chapter 203. At this point in time, we don't know if she was telling the truth to Crocodile. That could have been just all made up. However, until it's clarified that it is false, let's take it at face value for now and assume this age of heaven did exist. This calendar system is real. When people could freely use the energy, the abundant power around them to travel back and forth between the quote-unquote heavens, the Redline AC, and the planet itself. And this may apply not only to the Redline AC, but potentially the furthest reaches of the heavens. Now, ladies and gentlemen, we get to the final step, the final hour, the final destination.
Tell me.
And you thought I forgot. No, of course not. Obviously, bro. This is my meat. This is my blood. To this day, never gonna change. The Oda does nothing, which I hope he does not do nothing. But there's no way I forgot about the globe in Ohara during Robin's flashback. I think one of the most quintessential pieces of world building in the series. Every time I think about it, I salivate. Every time, bro. Every time. Because it gets the Battlestar Galactica. It gets the Skies of Arcadia fanboy in me doing Nika twerks. And of course, obviously, this seems to stem from the ancient knowledge that Clover and the other archaeologists were able to discover. A planet surrounded by 6 or so moons. And considering the themes of the 5 Gorosei, the elders right now, I've seen a lot of people try and make the correlation between these moons and the elders. And I'd argue potentially rightfully so, very rightfully so. However, there is a problem where we have never, ever seen these moons in real time in the night sky in the One Piece story. And the only we see is just the one singular moon that NL went up towards. Why? What's going on there? So I'd say there are 3 main reasons. Number 1, Oda forgot and doesn't care. And ultimately, it's a rabbit hole to nowhere. Which is possible, but it would break my heart. It would absolutely break my heart if this globe is a false flag. That's number 1. Number 2 is that these moons did exist at some point in time around the planet, but they were used as material resources in the distant past to create the planetary Redline AC. That was used purposefully and well-intentionally to control the climate all across the planet. Once again, not impossible at all when you consider the possibilities of the Undying, the eternal flame. And you can also add on the idea, of course, of genuine gods like Nika existing that could also play a role in the Redline AC's creation. And quickly, for 2.5, maybe the moons are still there, but somehow, some way, they're hidden. This one I do doubt greatly, but I'll just slide it on in. But here's number 3. And number 3 is where things get like super duper crazy. But this is the final step, and I won't be shy. Now when it comes to unlimited power, I will not. Now, you might have noticed that in this globe, one of these moons has their own moon. That's weird. It could be the case where it's still a moon orbiting the planet, and it does have its own like sub-moon, I guess, but it could also back up the idea, the claim that this is a geocentric model of their solar system. So if we take it at face value, that means that everything in the solar system, including the sun, orbits the One Piece world, the One Piece planet. How? Obviously is the crazy, like, bro, wait, that makes no sense. Well, this is, number 1, just a theory. The ancient kingdoms of yore could be simply postulating that this is the case, but not actually know it's the case. However, given what we know so far, this seems kind of weird because the ancients had, as far as we can tell, better technology and power than what the folks of today in that world have. The ancient kingdom that Vegapunk talks about 900 years ago, they have what they have on Egghead, but with a way, like, far superior power source. The tech back then, again, was so advanced that they had civilizations on the moon. They had automata, robots, to do X, Y, Z work for them. I mean, what? They didn't know if their solar system was geocentric or heliocentric, but you have automata that, huh? So it's kind of weird. So let's take this globe once again at face value. Instead of looking up, we have to look down, because there are a few cases here where we do have underground matters in One Piece. Like, we do have the cavity theory of how the Naka streams are formed. We do have Pluton that sleeps beneath Wano country. And even as far as the Gedatsu cover story, where starting from chapter 314, but mainly from around 336, we have Gedatsu who defeats a mole Earth boss. And then this mole Earth boss is able to actually connect a random hot spring island to Alabasta. It actually digs. It digs from another island to Alabasta, and now there is established travel from Alabasta to this hot springs island, and Gedatsu is the quote-unquote man running the show. He is he's the bath attendee. So it is a funny cover story, but just keep in mind that you have now underground travel, not, sea travel or air travel, underground travel between two islands, Hot Spring Island and Alabasta. And then this kind of ties into theories about Laugh Tale. Some folks theorize that Laugh Tale is located somewhere underground. And a lot of folks point to Enies Lobby, where Enies Lobby, that pit could be a gateway to the underground area where Laugh Tale could be located. So what we see in the NL cover story, where the ruins of the Sky Peons are found where? Underground on the moon. Not on the surface, underground on the moon. This could be the case here in a way more extreme way on the planet, potentially, in theory, for Laugh Tale. So all this to say is that there are cases of extreme digging. And if you add undying flame, eternal flame to the equation, how far can you go? Oh, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, the theory is as such. Once again, apply the idea of Egg Island being a microcosm of the planet itself, and you clamp down the shell of the egg. The main lab will be what? In the center of the egg planet. And we know that the power plant for the mother flame is in the main lab. For something like a planet, mother flame ain't enough. But do you see where I'm getting at here? But eternal flame, making your own star shenanigans could genuinely be happening literally at the core of the planet itself. How much gravity can an eternal flame exert on the solar system? And if these under-earth theories about Laugh Tale are correct, there's a good chance that the Eternal Flame likely has a direct connection to Laugh Tale and potentially the One Piece treasure itself. And honestly, you could argue, just to be safe, this is actually irrespective if it's under-earth Laugh Tale or not. If we want to take it a super tech route, the only star that could really do something of that sort would be a white dwarf star. And you would have essentially and effectively a Dyson sphere type system. So the planet itself could be a Dyson sphere surrounding the star, a white dwarf star in the center, at the core of the planet in the world of One Piece. That's how you would get a geocentric model of the solar system, to where even the star that we see in the day, that star has to obey the gravitational forces of the world of One Piece. That's how you get it. And that's crazy. That's phenomenal. But it's possible when you have unlimited power. It's possible, and I love it. And for Luffy, it would be a double meaning here, where it wouldn't necessarily just apply to the sunlight viewed in space, where the sun viewed in space, the rays aren't orange, they're actually white, one. But two, it could also apply to the white dwarf star at the center, the heart, get that funky heartbeat going, at the center of the planet itself. The white heart, the white star. Add gun to it, white star gun. You see what I'm getting at here. Now you may want to say, hold on now, but like when the folks die on the surface, hold on, Oda, lol, manga, don't care, and or they can manipulate gravity because you have anti-gravity tech. How crazy would it be if to this day The red line is still functional and anti-gravity properties are still active. That's how you get, ladies and gentlemen, a genuine geocentric solar system. A Dyson sphere is going on at the core of the planet. The repeated themes of the Vegapunks trying to establish all of these amazing technological features for the entire world, I think harken back to the stellar body's desire of achieving and reaching what the people of the past could do. And Egghead Island is the microcosm of what's going on for the world itself. A man-made world.
I finally rest and watch the sunrise on a grateful universe.
In conclusion, this is, I think, the best One Piece planet they have made ever. It's all here. Hopefully black and white, clear as crystal. Hopefully it is. And until Oda says, yo, King Lightning, you're phenomenal, spot on, and nailed it. Or, ayo, bud, lay off the drugs. What are you smoking? Goddamn. Until Oda says one or the other, I'm gonna stick to this because I do like it a lot. I do like this a lot. And part of the reason why I really want to take this to this sort of level is because obviously you have these space themes that are everywhere in the story. One. Two, is that Oda himself did tell the director of Film Red that we could go to space and the story would make perfect sense. And here's how you could do something of that degree and make it all add up, particularly when Egghead Island can show you these things are possible. But with more power, you upscale everything. More than anything else, outside of, let's say, me being a Moon fanboy, and I love moons, oh, trust me. And again, I'm a sci-fi sort of like, I love that stuff, for sure. Goldie Roger, in chapter 967, when they saw the One Piece, whatever it was, when they reached Laugh Tale, they busted out laughing. They were dying. And one of the quotes that sticks with me is what he says about Joy Boy. Oh, Joy Boy, I wish I'd been born in your time. Just think about that. The world of One Piece right now is an amazing, phenomenal place. It is off the charts with Oda's creativity and what he's done so far, and how many zany, wonky locations, people, weather phenomenon. There's so many things that are just amazing with the story in terms of the world building. How on earth could someone like Goldie Roger, who has been to Fishman Island, who has been to Skypiea, how could he say, I wish I was born in your time? What was Joy Boy going through? How nutty must the world have been back then? I think what I'm talking about right here is, it is that. It's like, yo, holy hell. This is an insane as hell planet to be born on. Absolutely, without a damn doubt. And I hope, to some degree, maybe not, let's say, the entire planet, the Dyson sphere. Okay, fair enough. That could be like, whoa, okay. But I hope to some degree, some of this is valid. Maybe not all of it, but at least just give me some. Give me some, Oda. I hope Oda has the courage to go well beyond the paradigms of the world we've seen so far. The same way Togashi in Hunter x Hunter introduced the Dark Continent. Every Hunter x Hunter fan knows the scope, the paradigm shift, wait, there's no way. Yes, this is what I need to see. The New World was outstanding, but it's still a sliver of just the entire planet. Give me the good stuff. And Oda, you've laid that down. You have these sprinkles. I need a genuine Carvel ice cream, loving its size extravaganza. Do not skimp on the sugary goodness. Oda, man, I'm happy I got this video done. I definitely am. And shout outs, much love. Thank you, Jafar, for once again, just going through a slog of a video. Appreciate you, for damn sure. But let me know your stance on my theory video about the world, the man-made world of One Piece. If you enjoy my content at large, make sure to give a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, and of course, click on that bell to join the notification squad. Very important. I'm gonna catch you guys on the flip side. Everyone, take care, stay safe, have a nice one.
See you. Bye bye.